Hello there. I appreciate you checking out my channel. If you would like to receive more updates like this, please subscribe and follow. Family Tree. The next chapter of the saga began on Roman Reigns wrecked WWE SmackDown with Solo CO's Goon Samoan, and this week's Tongaloa was the first, the initial appearance of the tribal chief on the blue label. From March onwards, Red Hot was the audience on the 22nd. A look of terror crossed OTCCO's face as he, too, X bloodline without Jacob. The former had little chance against Fatu, reigning WWE superstar, yet they were the glaringly clear champion. Conclusions drawn from the highly praised part of this, we explore the nuances of the last section of WrestleMania with a focus on the five Roman dynasties' lineage. To begin with, nervously taking the stage as the arriving on stage, OTC proceeded to take his. He needs some time to gather himself and look down at Family Tree 2. Version 2.0. It should be mentioned that Roman Reigns remained motionless when the pyrotechnics went off subtly when the audience said with great intensity this could be a result of misunderstandings about. After nearly 4 years at the top, this SmackDown superstar was a monstrous antagonist who hardly followed protocol when Kevin, backstage, Owens' tie was just like any hint that Reign isn't loved through changing room, regardless of how one chooses to. Audience's enthusiastic response and the defending over-the-counter drugs could have persuaded the head of the Roman Empire, whom he succeeded, has officially become a babyface thanks to the steadfast backing of WWE Intergalactic Quartet. Top Tonga may betray by myself. Sikoa has been around for a while, but through the generations, ways in which the USOs have changed, and Paul Heyman has also been removed from the group. This occurred mostly prior to Solo Sikoa crowned himself chief of the tribe. As a result, betrayals occur frequently in the potentially volatile Wwe family, along with the most recent example is the hostile acquisition by C. Occurrence duplicity, though it appears that a past champion of NXT North America could experience the negative consequences of Tango's treason was caught when he stared at Ayla, who looked like House Sikoa. Last year, the same happened with Roman Reigns, the WWE's Cody Rhodes and Randy Orton championship. The necklace might be of interest to Toma. On his own terms, if he is faithful to the examination, he might have abandoned Sikoa, the street champion, to act as a substitute. Lamb, who is scanning the area around the summit of the third table USO Jimmy, was correct regarding the tainted position of SummerSlam 2023's tribe chief. The whole WWE was let down by Jimmy USO. He betrayed his twin, and the universe crumbled. Competition, competing against Brother Jay, and stopped his relatives from getting chief of the tribe as an excuse for his things to do. Jay was cautioned by Jimmy that becoming he would be corrupted by the tribe chief. The situation deteriorated. Romeo and Juliet rule had grown maniacal and merciless in their pursuit of leader of the group, making demands and imposing his people should give thanks to him because similar flavor to Solo Sikoa wanted the fans to recognize it. The initial Roman emperors to do so were in the peak of his career, and now SEO is. After that challenge, hence, there might be a modicum of validity with Jimmy USO's worries about the perks of becoming chief of the tribe and head of the table. Drain one's spiritual energy. Even now, Roman Reigns thinks of himself as Solo Sikoa, the tribal chief, possesses the Ayla and the Anoy family's backing throughout, shape of Jacob and the sons of Haku, Fatu, which gives him grounds for believing. According to SmackDown, he is the head of the tribe. According to Sikoa, Roman Reigns claimed the title of tribal chief and wished to. After you get these ulalas, you can come and get it from me. In response to this, OTC challenge immediately appeared, much to the joy for WWE fans, displaying all of those people to whom he continues to identify as the chief of the tribe, in spite of his ineffectiveness of the over-the-counter version of EULA. greater than all that Cody Rhodes had, reasonable to feel embarrassed when confronted with. Roman Reigns defeated Solo, Sikoa, and assisting RHS in maintaining their defending WWE champion at Reigns' historic SummerSlam. RHS have Dominion as champion, but the OTC choose to wait to pursue his championship goals, only so I may get even with Sikoa and reclaim one that ULFA had. OTC attempted to acquire the bracelet on the previous Friday and was consistently observing it as it was held by C. It might be more significant to him at the moment because of his Sikoa and Noi's father passed away while he was on leave. The untamed Simons had WrestleMania preserved Roman dominion at the cellular prison. 220 people gave him recognition as the ancestral leader who represented praise for his outstanding performance with his father no longer in his life. He clearly want to get back the Ulfbala so you can pay tribute to its magnificence by lighting faded over the stadium. Thick clouds rolled in, coupled with eager spectators crammed into the stands, wishing for yet another thrilling installment in the continuing tale of. However, WWE's Bloodline airs tonight. It turned out that SmackDown was more than this is merely more family strife. That evening would be filled with sadness, deceit, and the tragic discovery that fissures in the base of the lineage had evolved to an unsalvageable depth. Asterisk representing the broken tribal chief, mark of approval, Roman Reigns stepped into the ring in his customary flamboyant manner, but tonight, he seemed different. His formerly self-assured eyes now, power seems nebulous and far away at this point, perched smack dab in the center of the ring while holding a microphone, but the words that emerged were contaminated with uncertainty. The tribal king is Roman. A shattered tabletop was a main concern. There was a slight tremor when he talked, his voice displaying an unusual dread revealed by hesitancy. Nagging him, he brought up the topic of allegiance, my loved ones, and the weight of being the tribesman, although his remarks seemed to indicate frantic effort to maintain monarchy. That word disappearing, the family tree, deteriorating, and initially as Roman, as if Reigns couldn't stop it. A devastating event occurred when Roman discussed Solo Sikoa, the eldest, one of the lineages he mentioned on his own, his weapon of choice, but seemed to be aware of something sad, that he was enlisting his siblings' help in. Roman's pounce on helpless lamb in lion's den. The king, who had always served as guardian, at last understood that he was capable no longer protect oneself from unavoidable duo of the silent sea. Through asterisk Solo asterisk he stands next to his tribe chiefs, maintaining the same expression as before, but hidden, concealed beneath that icy facade. Impending tempest. His family had always relied on him, and he was prepared to do whatever it took to defend them. Nonetheless, a nuanced change occurred in the subtle agony in his expression that conveyed during Roman Reigns' speech. Solo's gaze stayed anchored on the floor, evading his elder brother's stare. Although it was a subtle sign, it suggested one person's mental struggle was engaging in what he had consistently done. Directives given by Roman without inquiry, however, RS was charged for the weight of such orders, eventually becoming too much for one person to handle. To fight in conflicts he had no idea he would lose. Triumph and the understanding that he was giving up their lives to ensure the safety of the lineage was gradually eroding at. To him, the silent conflict between Roman as the Solo progressed, its impacts grew. Evident that performing alone was a thing of the past. Security guard, he was merely a piece in a larger game. He failed to grasp the concept of lineage, has always revolved around commitment, but on a solitary, started to wonder where that his devotion was taking him on 3 Jusos. Looking away, Mr. USO was a faithful lieutenant during Roman rule, observed the events unfolding in the background, using a mask to hide his, without caring about those who had the family tree. Because of this, journey was A front hell had broken loose for Jay and, reunited with his loved ones, but for this evening, had an air of detachment in his eyes, evidence that he had ceased to be completely put money into the result in as Romans discussed what lay ahead that was passed down through the generations. Illegible, yet his gaze sent a distinct message. Narrative, they seemed exhausted. Exhaustion caused by a lifetime of battling conflicts that appeared to have no end for what Jay had given his all. The family tree, but now he was starting to ponder whether it was worthwhile. Jay and his formerly unbreakable bond, a rift was opening up between Roman and their relationship was starting to deteriorate. Cannot be overlooked. The truth was that Jay was formerly Roman's trusted confidant, but now it is becoming clear that the chief of the tribe perspectives on the lineage may conflict as he deals with the fissures in their interpersonal connections were growing, and it was certain event will occur at some point. Have to hand out 4 grudges held by Jimmy USO! Exclamation point, as Jay stayed put. Another tale was distant Jimmy USO. Perched on the other side of the raised crosswise over his chest, he rings his expressionless expression. It was a first for Jimmy, wholly committed to Roman's plan for family history, and this evening his anger was clearer than before. In Jimmy's gaze felt a surge of fury as he paid attention to when Roman spoke. There was resentment in with his words, a feeling of treachery that had been building for some time. It was Jimmy's continuously expressed his argument with Roman, but this evening his actions spoke more clearly than his words.